always have done making these calls for this little lousy weather we've really had the last couple of weeks. I think Adam, I might have called you Mr. Freeze. I think that's what I call him now. But really, from the bottom of our heart, very much appreciate the effort that the boys and the team have done to get the schools open and safe. Okay, and Superintendent, thank you for those early mornings on the highway department and with Mike Stern and with Adam and the principals and everything. So, thank you very much for the effort over there. What I'd like to do right now is I'd like to turn the meeting over to our superintendent of schools, Frank Mealy. Frank, take it away.
Thank you, President Mongan. At this time, we have a couple of budget reviews, and I'm going to pass it on to our Assistant Superintendent, Alyssa Murray, to make the introductions.
Thank you. So we're going to go through our second budget presentation, and we're going to have a couple of people come up and present. I'm going to start it off. So we have our timeline. So right now we're in February, second budget presentation. 3 departments are going to present, and we're going to keep going along this cycle of a couple more next month, and then the building administrator will present in April. So we have our budget priorities. So we're going to maintain, the superintendent recommendations are to maintain all academic programs and extracurricular activities, expand opportunities for high school curriculum pathways, continue the district's bus replacement schedule, and balance the needs of the educational program with the fiscal needs of the community. So we have our enrollment history. So we have a 10-year look back of enrollment. Biggest takeaway from this slide is that we have decreased in enrollment, but it's been a very slight decrease. So you can see we have 3,886 students as of December of 2025, and we actually did go up, increase a couple years ago, so it's been pretty steady. So for our projected enrollment, you'll see that the change is about minus 59 students for next year, and the way that's determined is each grade gets rolled forward to the following grade. And then for kindergarten, we repeat what was kindergarten numbers this year, just because that has given us the best accurate numbers so far. It's been pretty consistent. We look at the UPK numbers, and there's also many students who aren't in UPK that also join the district. And we look at the live birth data ratio on the Putnam County website. So this chart is our elementary class size and section. So the way this is read is the first part is the current average class size. So if you look at Austin Road, you have 17 students average in kindergarten. If you look at Fulmer Road, 21. So and then when you go all the way across to that last column, it's the total sections of each grade in all elementary schools. So what this slide is saying is that we are looking to have a neutral, no increase or decrease at this point in terms of how many elementary sections we need for next year. So if you needed an increase, that would be additional FTE. Decrease would be less FTE. Right now we're neutral as we continue budget discussions. So now we'll have Mr. Luciano come up and talk about athletics.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. So, our athletic program, we have 32 varsity teams. We've increased it over the last few years with our unified teams and the addition of flag football. The more opportunities we can offer our student athletes or our students, the better. We're always looking to add programs if we have, the interest for it. But I think we do a very good job offering athletic opportunities for our student body. We've had 840 students participating in athletics at the high school, over 300 at the middle school, and we're always looking to try and increase that number. We've had some really good seasons the last few years. We've had one section championship. Our softball team won a couple of years back. 4 Section 1 finalists. In the fall, we had 3 Section 1 finalists alone. Winter season, we just finished. Our varsity wrestling team finished 3rd out of 32 teams at the Section 1 Wrestling Championships. We had one section champion, Charles Brzezmilski, who, back-to-back section champion, and we had two others. We have three wrestlers that were competing at state championships. We had a bowler on Tuesday qualify for the state championships, and we had two of our gymnastic team members qualify for the state championships, and one of our skiers just qualified. So we've had a very, very good winter, and our basketball teams are still playing with high hopes for the postseason run there. Unified is probably the biggest thing that we have brought to Mahopac. When I interviewed here 6 years ago, that was something that was very dear to me and very important to me. It's something that I brought to tell them. And when we first started, it was unified basketball. That's all they offered. Now we have unified bowling. And it's just last year we started unified flag, which, like I said, the opportunities we're offering our special education students is amazing. And we're hoping that the state keeps expanding what unified opportunities they offer. I know they've talked about tennis and soccer. We're just waiting for the state to give us the okay to run more programs, and we're ready to go. So I think that's probably been the best and most proud thing that we've done here. Hopefully we just keep running with that. We were named School of Distinction 2024-25. We're also named School of Distinction in 23-24. What that means is 100% of our 100% of our varsity teams qualify for the all-student athlete team. It's 100%. We were, I think, one of 7 Section 1 schools that got that award this year, so we're very proud of that as well. So we're excelling on the field and in the gym and on the courts and in the pools and everything else, but it shows that our student athletes are also excelling in the classroom, which has been fantastic. Playing at the next level, that's not easy. We want to give opportunities for all our student athletes, but we do have some exceptional athletes that play at the college level. Last year alone, we had 20 student athletes playing either at Division I, II, or III level. We're probably going to exceed that this year. It's a tremendous senior class, so our coaches do a great job promoting our students and getting them in front of college coaches, so that's been great. Now for the numbers. Salaries, we're pretty much bound by the NTA contract. We have an increase every year because of the contract. We're also looking to add a JV girls flag football team next year, which would be an additional stipend. Like I said, the sport is really growing. It's 7 versus 7, but we have 40 to 50 girls that try out every year. So to add a JV team to give our freshmen and sophomores an opportunity would be really beneficial to the program and to our students. Supervision. If you come to our events, I think we do a tremendous job keeping our events safe. We have great people that work our games, and for our fans, our athletes, our coaches, and the officials, we provide a safe environment for them. You never can know when something's going to happen, but we're ready to control anything that goes wrong. I think we do a tremendous job with our game management. Athletic equipment. I was able to get a couple of big items this year for our track and field equipment to help that. But we're also looking to add some more storage. We have those big containers out there that are starting to get run down, and as we're expanding our programs, we're getting more equipment. So storage is very key for us. Officials and men, this is part of what Brennan's and our reconditioning that we use. Materials and supplies, I try to keep that flat every year. Sometimes one year I have to budget more for a certain sport because it needs something, and the next year it's another sport, so it evens each other out. But I always try to keep that materials and supply number equal year to year. Travel and conference, it's important for professional development, and we also have to add with our athletes traveling and our coaches having to travel to be with our athletes at state competitions. And now that we've had more and more athletes qualify for state competitions, our coaches are there to support them. Dues and fees, this has gone up. This is where we pay for fees for tournaments, also for our gymnastics that goes to Eclipse, our bowling team, our ice hockey, which is a tremendous cost. swim team goes, our ski, going to the ski mountain, so those prices increase year to year. So it's something to, to maintain those programs, unfortunately, we do have to increase that amount. And the BOCES fees, that covers, the official costs through BOCES and our state dues, our section dues, and we're bound by the contract through BOCES that we have. So, there is a slight increase. I was trying to keep it as neutral as possible, but with, the increases in, our rental fees for, like I said, the other sports where we travel outside of campus, and for the coaching salaries that go up, there was a slight increase. But, I really, like I said, been here 6 years. You guys have always been very supportive of our programs and our athletic. And I just want to thank you again for all the support that you've given over the years. So, thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
Next we have Mr. Adam Merman, Director of Facilities.
Not as tall as others. Sorry. Thank you, Board, Superintendent Mealy, for letting me present this budget information. Some of the in-progress things that we're working on behind the scenes is the replacement of the roof at Lakeview Elementary School. We've been talking with the architects, and we don't have any finalized plans, but that is in process. Kind of got the general gist of it, being that I just arrived. But you'll see later on how this ties into one of the other capital projects that I'm going to talk about later. So we're anticipating to do this over the summer. We will take up some space with storage of material because it is a large roof, but not to impede on any other activities that are happening in the school. Some of the improvements that we've already completed in 25-26, the team room at the high school gym, the flooring has been done, the electric is installed, and the new lighting is installed as well. Over at Fulmer, we have new stage lighting and sound system. They turned the lights on the other day, and the kids jumped up on the stage, and we're so happy to see that, so it's a good thing that we did that. And of course, we have the tennis courts being finished, so we're able to hold the tennis courts and matches there. So in terms of specifics for each school, I'll try to go over and explain what we're doing and why we're doing it. First is the high school, the chemical storage room renovation. This is really important because we don't meet state requirements when it comes to storing the chemicals that we have in the high school right now. So the price tag includes a lot of plumbing work. We do not have an eye wash station in there. We do not have a shower in there and drainage. On top of that, we have a floor that is ACN that needs to be remediated, and then putting a new floor down. I also want to make sure that we're being conscious of the fact that there are chemicals in there, so we're going to put a flooring down that is going to be chemically resistant in case anything spills and it doesn't get ruined. With that, we also need to get proper ventilation. Luckily, there's a window in the room so we can vent straight outside. It also needs the proper sized air conditioning for the space, which it does not have right now. So all that tied together is going to make the room compliant and make sure that we can store our chemicals safely and feel good about it. Next thing would be the roof replacement, which is built into the budget. Trying to target over the gym area because we've already had some issues, and specifically being up there and seeing it, part of the roof is not fully attached to the building, so we're going to make that a lot better by just attaching and getting a new part of the roof covered, making it dry inside. Moving on to the middle school, exterior door replacement. As we are getting snow, and I guess it's all my fault, I apologize. So we're salting the sidewalks, and that beats up on the lower parts of the door. The doors are some original to the building, so we want to just update that and see about that. It's a program that's been ongoing, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank Tim, my predecessor, for putting some of these things in place on just carrying the ball going forward. So that's the exterior door replacement. Insulation of chiller piping and heating pipes. I haven't experienced it yet, but what I'm being told, and I met with each principal of the schools to get their input as well as the head custodian. weather changes, which they tell me it's going to get warmer, they start the chillers up and the pipes start sweating because we're running cold, chilling water through it. And with the humidity and everything else, it starts to drip on the ceiling tiles and creates problems in the hallways. So if we were able to insulate that, that would take care of that problem. The orchestra room is in need of a new floor, so we put that in the budget as well. And continuing with the first floor last year, the painting project that went on, we want to continue that painting up into the staircases, so kind of phasing it in, so eventually it'll look uniform and make it look clean. So that's the list. Austin Road is, again, exterior door replacement. Just carrying that ball forward, like I said. Some of the doors are beat up and just need to be replaced, so we can do that. Unit ventilator repairs, okay. This is a bigger issue than just this, but I'm going to start with Austin Road. A lot of the unit ventilators that we have are breaking down because they are original to the buildings. The louver motors don't work in some cases, causing a lot of cold air coming in, especially during this time. Oh, sorry. Sorry, my bad. Totally my fault.
It's all good. It's all good now.
So without those louvers being activated by the motors, we're getting a lot of cold air coming in, so we have to compensate. It would be really nice to kind of take a look and step back and take a look further down the line about full replacement. But right now, we just have to replace some components. So over to Fulmer. Abatement and flooring replacement of 4 classrooms. Again, this has been an ongoing phasing in project. So again, we're just continuing that going forward. We'll be doing another 4 classrooms this year. So that includes ceiling, lighting, painting of the room, and flooring to make sure that we can do that on, eventually getting the ACM material that's on the floor out of the building completely. And the new asphalt, the upper lot is where they do a lot of recess work and the kids play out there, and it's just kind of really ratty. So being that the lower asphalt area was recently paved, we'd like to continue that up and just make sure it's a nice, safe, even surface for kids to play on. And Lakeview, so this ties into like doing the roof. It's going to kind of bring the building together, which is repointing and painting of the current main entrance. So on the side, with the stone, we need to do the repointing and make sure that the mortar is solid and preventing water from penetrating, and painting it to make sure that it works. The other part is painting of where the columns are. So as I drive around when it snows and make sure that all the stairs and everything is clear and safe for people, I looked at the columns and they're all kind of beat up, and I said, there's no way I'm going to put a new roof on here without painting the front. So we're going to be doing that, so we'll have the roof. The front will be all nice and shiny, and we're ready to go. Any questions on any of that? Okay. Quickly. Oh, sorry. Basically, our numbers are with BOE services. We use BOEs for different pricing for vendors that we use. And so it's been reduced down from, well, the numbers here, and it's 26, 27, it's going down to 419. Contractual repair and maintenance, again, cutting back a little bit, but trying to do requested work. Dues and fees is something we're never going to be able to dodge in terms of maintenance. Equipment costs, we're trying to keep even, and we're also looking into trying to get a fleet type situation where instead of just buying new trucks, to kind of keep it on a rolling basis, so that, because our trucks get beat up, the salt and everything affects it, so we're just having a rolling inventory right off the situation. Materials and supplies, all the stuff that we use to make sure that we're keeping these buildings up and running. We also supply the uniforms for our staff, shirts and pants. That's contractual. Utilities, I can't do anything about. So this is where we are in terms of electric, gas heat, telephone, and as you can see, the bottom numbers here.
have Mr. Ben August for technology.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the superintendent for his leadership and extend the thanks of the technology department to the board for your support. It's a pleasure to be here again to present to you our proposed budget for the coming year. We continue to celebrate the opportunities that the technology department has lent into to enrich our students' education this year by welcoming some wise interns, and we look forward to bringing back some of our alumni to act as interns over the summer to do job shadowing with our network specialists. It's the task of the technology to make sure that innovative learning is possible for every person in the district, and our budget is constructed to allow us to build, maintain, and secure all of the different software and hardware systems that allow that innovation to thrive. Each year, we define our annual goals for 3 different areas. They're split out here as infrastructure, construction, and systems, and that's because the technology department touches so many different aspects of the work and learning day of every person in the district. And our infrastructure focus for the coming year is to make sure that we make all of this new technology as simple and consistent as possible. Right now, focusing on the construction and installation of the wireless network. When we
of January, we received this. There will be a legislative final budget that is supposed to happen in April. It's been delayed the past couple of years, so we'll see what happens, but this is what we're working with for now. So just to point out a couple of things, foundation aid, that's a big formula that every school district is given, and it's based on different factors, economic factors, enrollment factors, special ed population, ELL population. So when all that spits out, we have an increase of 1.79% across the board. When you look at other school districts in this region, that is on the higher side. If there are school districts that only receive 1%, so we'll take that as a win. As you can see, universal pre-K, that across the board in a lot of districts has increased greatly. Kind of looking for more guidance on what exactly that means, but I think the intention is to educate as many UPK students as possible, so more to come on that. And then when you look at the rest of the aid, all of it is expense-driven aid, meaning that what we spend, we get a percentage based on our school district off of that. And when you look at it all together, you take out pre-K, because that's not part of our operating budget revenue fund, it's a 2.78% increase. So for the first run, we've historically have seen an increase on the legislative budget. No promises, but I think this is a good starting point for us. So when you look at state aid, that's about a portion of our revenue, but the majority of our revenue is coming locally from the tax levy. So we start with this formula every year of the tax levy, which is a lot of factors that were given to us. For example, the tax-based growth factor, which is based on any residential and commercial growth in Mahopac specifically. Then you have the allowable growth factor, which is a statewide number given to us by the Office of State Comptroller, that 2% that people may have heard of when they hear tax levy. And then one of the biggest controllers that we have from the district side is our exemptions. So we get an exemption for our capital improvements. So as Adam Ruben described, we're sunsetting one of our prior capital projects, so we still have debt service that we're still paying, so we're able to tax the community on that. So when you spit that all out, you have a percent of 2.32%. So historically, this has been a starting point for the district, for the board to decide exactly what they will tax the community. If you were to go above 2.32%, you'd have to get a supermajority vote, meaning that the approval for the budget would have to be over 60% yes. So here is tax levy history. So as you can see, a lot of blanks for this current budget cycle, and they will be filled in as we continue with this process. So right now we have CPI is 2.63%, and then like as I just showed, 2.32% allowable tax levy limit. So when you look back at the last couple of years, you'll see that we had an allowable tax levy limit that was higher than what we actually taxed the community. So you'll see a negative 1.05% for last year, and that's because we had a 0% for the revote, but then in August, we gave $1 million back to the community based on our auditor's suggestion, because we had a lot of fund balance that we needed to give back to the community, because we had already put all the money we could in all of our reserves to follow the state law. So here is a graphic of what I just showed in the chart. So the takeaway is that CPI has been high, allowable tax levy has been a little lower, and the actual tax levy amount that the board decides to tax the community has been low. And you can see that pattern for the past 4 years. So the next steps are for more budget presentations in March. And again, there'll be more from my end around revenue and budget-to-budget number and things of that nature. And then we have in April we'll have the budget adoption. And then in May is the annual hearing and the budget vote on May 19th. The next 2 slides is more information that you can find at Ms. LaRocca's page on the district clerk page on the website. So early voting absentee ballots. And then if you would like to be nominated, get a nominating petition to be on the Board of Education. And that is it. So thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa. Excellent job by you and your team. Appreciate it very much. Do we have
None on consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. If there are no consent agenda items, I would like to move on to our superintendent's report. And our superintendent of schools, Frank Mueller.
Thank you. Before I get started, I just want to pass this message along to the community and our residents that when we make any announcements as far as the school closing or any dismissals or canceling school, before I make any decisions, I go through an entire process where I ask for a lot of help. One is our maintenance, our facilities gentleman, Adam Rubin. I call our highway superintendent. I talk to other superintendents. I talk to the schools that are around us. And I take it very seriously. I always try to keep the safety of our students at the forefront. I also think about parents that need to make some adjustments. So I always try to make the decisions as as smartly as I can and as early as I can make it. So we've had a busy winter, and I'm hoping that spring season starts sooner than later. But I just want everybody to know that I really take it seriously, and I don't just call for a delay just to say, well, let's have a delay. What you saw the other day was a very icy situation. The roads were okay, but getting to your car or waiting for a school bus wasn't. And so we made the decision to have a 2-hour delay, and we do the things that we do just for the safety of our students. So hopefully everybody understands. Excuse me. Secondly, last night I had the opportunity to go to our strings concert at high school, where we had a chance to see our middle school and high school students under the direction of Kira Kane and Caitlin Ty. I always say if you want something to do, come to one of our schools. We had a huge basketball game going on in one of our gyms, as well as our string concert. If you had to find a parking spot, it could have been a problem, so you would know how crowded it could get. So that was awesome. Today I attended a middle school health fair that Val Meerman and her team sponsored. It was held during one of our lunch periods at the middle school. We had our Mahopac Falls Fire Department was there, one of their trucks, and some different agencies presenting a lot of different things to our students. And if you just go to one of our schools, you see a lot of activity and a lot of noise and a lot of activity and a lot of interaction between our kids and teachers, and it's just a good place to be. Another activity the other day, since I was wearing a green sweater, I had to join at Fulmer Road, they had a kindergarten parade, which I didn't know was going to go throughout the entire building, upstairs, downstairs, through the building, and I was on the green team, which at my age, I can't believe I was on the kindergarten green team, but it was awesome. Slapping hands and meeting young kids and teachers, and that's just one of the special things we do. Next, I'd like to congratulate 2 of our teachers that received designation as master teachers. They joined probably another 10 or 12 that go through a pretty intense type of program to reach that level. And we were very fortunate to have Jen Borst from Lakeview and Rob Santro from the high school reach that level and did. We were very fortunate to have some very outstanding teachers, and these 2 just elevated their knowledge and what they offer our school, so we're very fortunate in that. We have a number of, Steve Luciano mentioned, our winter season. It seems we had a great fall season. We continue to have a great winter season. We have playoffs starting in another week. He mentioned, we do have a number of students that qualify for the state tournament. In wrestling, Charles Brzezinski, Bruce Styler, and Justin Cabrahut. In skiing, we had Victoria Earnshaw. In bowling, we had Austin and Arcega. In gymnastics, we had Anna Ritzi and Lexi Castro-Gutaro. But the thing that I'm more impressed with, and I think our athletic student athlete, and our academics, come to the forefront. It's great to be a great athlete, but if you don't balance it with academics, it really doesn't do a heck of a lot. So I think we're really fortunate that we do have true student athletes. And if you come to any of our games, matches, meets, hockey activities, I mean, you'll see our kids working to the highest level and really representing our school the best that they can. So I'm pretty proud of that. And then last but not least, we had a special presentation last night at the high school at halftime. After our high school dancers did their routine, we finally introduced the financial literacy seal. We had a contest, and last night it was presented by Alyssa Ortiz. It was presented to her, to Alyssa Ortiz, who, Allison Ortiz, sorry. My age is getting late, I guess. Allison Ortiz was the winner. She was in Sean Flanagan's graphic arts class. And so we had a presentation last night. President Mongan started the night off. If you know anything about Town of McCracken, he finished the night off. And then we presented the seal, and we presented Allison with a couple of plaques and flowers. And it was a great night. And that seal will be on. This year we have over 200 students that will get the financial literacy seal. It'll be on our diplomas. Next year it'll be close to 300, and then the following year it'll be everyone. And it'll start in the 8th grade and work its way through to the high school. So we're very fortunate that was brought up. I can't say enough about our high school principal. I can't say enough about our board that had the push as far as making this a priority. I can't say enough for Taryn McCracken, who wouldn't let this thing go. But it's huge as far as, what we think our kids, our students should know once they graduate or as they go through high school as far as finances. And, there's a lot of pitfalls out there that young people can get into. So we're hoping to eliminate some of those. So I'm really proud that I was just, a small part of that. So I appreciate it. And then Ms. Luciano also mentioned the unified sports. I can't be more proud of, when we go see our, student athletes in the gym, and I'm hoping that they increase it to a number of sports now. We're into bowling and basketball and football, and there's a number of things. Who knows, it could be softball soon, or a number of different sports. So that's my message as far as, what I've done for the last couple of weeks and some of the good things that we have. We're in a very good place as far as some of the things that are happening in our school. So very proud and humble to be part of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent Mealy. We certainly echo those sentiments. Absolutely. Actually, just real quick, with last night's presentation, we played a very tough basketball game against a very, very excellent Tappan Zee team, the Dutchman from Tappan Zee. And after the game, it was a tough game, we lost by 3 points, but after the game, three of the coaches and 2 of the players from Tappan Zee, they were on their way out through the gym to their buses, and they commented on just the reception that they got from the time they got to the high school, the pregame, during the game, halftime, after the game, everything from soup to nuts from when they got there, when they left, the treatment that they received. They were absolutely flabbergasted and commented on just how nice everybody was up here in Mahopac. And it really resonated with me. And the coach went on to even go and say, we hope you guys win section, AA section. So that was really nice for because he said you guys played really well and really gave us everything we needed. So I thought that was really nice. I just wanted to share that. And then we'll sail into the subcommittee reports. We have one subcommittee report. That would be the finance subcommittee. I will turn it to Trustee Mahopac.
The Finance Committee met January 29th. The committee meeting focused on reviewing the district's upcoming 26-27 budget with detailed presentations on athletics, facilities, and technology budgets. The athletics budget showed an increase of $27,378, primarily due to coaching salaries and hosting costs, while technology experienced a decrease of $55,000 due to switching from MIT to Collab IT services and the successful transition to iPads at the middle school. Facilities budget decreased by $36,000 with Adam, the new facilities director, implementing a cost savings measure and prioritizing necessary repairs. The committee also discussed state and projections showing a 3.86% increase, including funds for UTK. We reviewed the current budget of $145,137,805 with plans to create a clear presentation showing how different departments contribute to the overall budget. Conversation ended with a brief discussion about upcoming staff retirements and the need to review master schedules in an upcoming executive session. The budget review and enrollment adjustments. We discussed a meeting focused on reviewing the upcoming budget of 26-27 with projected enrollment loss of 60 students and discussion about potentially reducing elementary sections to fewer than 80. That closed out our meeting, and the next meeting will be February 26th.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Trustee Potter, for that report. I get a motion to accept the report as read. Trustee Harrigan, second.
Second.
Trustee Carway, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so we have the consent agenda. Melody, do we have anybody signed up for consent agenda items?
Nothing on the consent agenda.
Okay. That said, can I get a motion to accept this evening's consent agenda? Trustee Iacono, can I get a second, please?
Second.
Second. I'll give it to Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
There's a donation there too.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Where did it speak to? Where'd it go? How about that? Where is it? Okay. Oh, okay. So, okay. Okay, so if I could. Oh, okay, I got you. All right, it's not, okay. All right, so the consent agenda has been approved. All in favor? Aye? Okay. We now will go to our public comment portion of the meeting. And what I'd like to do is remind the speakers that we would like to remind speakers that when addressing the board, they must adhere to the school district code of conduct, direct their comments to the board as a whole or to the president of the school board, refrain from directing comments to individual board members or other district officials unless they ask for and obtain the approval of the board president, refrain from calling for expressions of sentiment or support from others present, conduct themselves in a civil and respectful manner, refrain from obscene language, libelous statements, threats of violence, or statements advocating racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice, and avoid personal attacks. We ask all speakers to adhere to policy 1230. Comments deemed to be derogatory, inflammatory, or out of order will be cut off. Speakers have 4 minutes to address the school board. Melody, do we have anybody signed up right now?
Valerie Tutts.
Okay. Hi and welcome. How are you?
Hi, well, thank you.
Good.
For the opportunity to expressed my opposition of the board's decision to close a discussion regarding a member's occupation. Schools must never be perceived as extensions of enforcement or surveillance. When leadership is tied to agencies such as ICE, it impacts all families who value civil liberties and student privacy. Our community deserves transparency regarding what personal student data board members can access, such as home addresses, emergency contacts, or demographic information. What safeguards are in place to prevent misuse or conflicts of interest? When an agency faces repeated scrutiny over due process and horrific enforcement tactics, it is fair for parents to demand absolute clarity about how student information is protected. I submitted a FOIL request on February 5th seeking clarity on the following. Current policies regarding board access to student or family records, confidentiality and data privacy training materials provided to board members, and district conflict of interest and recusal policies applicable to the board members. This query has not yet been answered, but I hope to hear from you all soon. Under New York's Dignity for All Students Act, this district has an affirmative obligation to maintain a school environment where all students feel safe and protected, regardless of immigration status or family background. I respectfully ask the board to clarify what specific steps are being taken to ensure our schools remain safe spaces and that students are fully protected. Trust, transparency, and accountability are essential for our community. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, no.
Jonathan Bloom.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
So this is in the same vein as the speaker who just spoke. Members of the board, superintendent, and community members. Well, first I want to clear up why I'm speaking tonight. This is not about overturning an election, saying somebody was, this person was elected. What this is about is an impact, and about how this board chooses to respond to the legitimate concerns of the community. A good portion of the students in this district come from families who may feel directly affected by immigration enforcement. I'm not speaking for them, I'm not suggesting that they all feel the same way, but it would be unrealistic to assume that none of them are affected by this. It's public knowledge now that a member of this board works as a deportation officer with ICE. That fact carries meaning. Not because of personality or legality, but because of what that role represents to some families. For some, immigration enforcement is not abstract. It represents detention, deportation, and family separation. Whether we agree on those policies or not is beside the point. That is the lived reality for some of the members of this community. At the last meeting, there were some concerns raised. And what I heard from this board was a strong defense of this person's right to serve and statements about him being a good person. Maybe both of those statements are true. But what I did not hear was an acknowledgement of the impact. I did not hear a plan or how the district would reassure families who may feel uneasy. I did not hear how the board intends to maintain trust with families who might now hesitate to engage. And that silence matters. Schools run on trust, and when families feel uncertain or uncomfortable, they pull back. They attend fewer meetings, they speak up less for their kids, they disengage. And the students feel that. You don't need conflict for harm to occur. Sometimes harm looks like quiet withdrawal. Leadership isn't just about meeting the legal standard. It's about anticipating impact. It's about recognizing perception. It's about protecting trust, especially for the students who already may feel vulnerable. So my question to this board is simple. How will you address the concerns raised? How will you ensure that all families, especially those that may feel directly affected by immigration enforcement, continue to feel safe, heard, and welcomed in the school district? Because ignoring impact does not make it disappear, and students should never be the ones absorbing the consequences of adult silence. Thank you.
Jillian Tolka.
Hi, welcome.
My name is Jillian Kolka. I'm a Mahopac resident. Since becoming aware that the school board trustee also has a role within immigration and customs enforcement, I have expressed concerns on two fronts: the conflict of interest and that the presence of ICE on the school board may deter people in the community from fully engaging in their right to a public education. The community elected a trustee in 2024 with knowledge of his 20-year dedication to law enforcement. Having high regards for local law enforcement, I can imagine how this experience was even seen as a positive. However, ICE is not local law enforcement, and the leadership, role, and directives given to ICE have changed since 2024. Those in the district with concerns need to hear what safeguards are in place on questions such as, but not limited to, who is monitoring the ever-changing directives given to ICE and how it may or may not pose a conflict. What guarantees are given to teachers, staff, and administrators who may find themselves at odds with a board member while he or she operates within the rules set by federal employment? How will the community know when the trustee is on school grounds as an unpaid volunteer versus a paid government ICE agent? Will the district follow New York State guidelines on admitting immigration enforcement into the schools guidelines on not admitting immigration enforcement into the schools without a signed warrant? My second point of concern: are there forces on the board and in the community that keep residents of Mahopac from feeling safe to speak up against the trustee's dual role? Prior to the last board meeting, a trustee labeled the concerns as reckless and unserious and an act of political intimidation. Then during the January 22nd meeting, concerns expressed about the conflict of interest were discounted by community members, multiple of whom are also professional politicians holding roles of authority and practiced in public speaking. Genuine concerns were discredited by accusations that speakers are being paid and coerced. One speaker was heckled because they spoke in Spanish. Online, a live comment read, "Too bad he's off duty," as a concerned person spoke. After the board meeting, people took to social media, including a person posting the citizenship status of a community member who spoke up. Now, even more so, my concern persists. What if fear and distrust of an ICE agent on the school board keeps families from enrolling their children or engaging in educational activities? Is the board confident that it has accurately gauged the community's experience of this issue? Can the board prove that they gave the necessary consideration to the seriousness of the situation and objectively weighed the impact on all stakeholders in the district prior to the decision to not entertain the trustee's removal? I ask, would it be possible to engage a neutral, independent party to confidentially obtain feedback from the community regarding the impact of this dual role on Mahopac Central School District immediately? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. So, just to reiterate, the Board of Education is in receipt of several communications from members of the community serving as a member of the Board of Education are established by state law. The authority of the board to remove one of its members is also established by state law. Trustee Harrigan's employment does not disqualify him under New York law from continuing to serve as a duly elected member of the Board of Education. The Board of Education stands united with Trustee Chris Harrigan and will not be entertaining his removal. Okay. Melanie, who else do we have to?
That's all that's signed up.
Okay, do we have anybody else that would like to come up and speak now? Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Okay, that being said, we have a vacation, right? We have vacation.
Mike.
Midwinter vacation next week.
Mike.
We have, excuse me?
I just wanted to ask, could you give the community an update on the new superintendent search, where we're at, what the next steps are?
Yeah, we have interview scheduled for March 3rd.
And will there be a community committee that we did the last time we did a search? And if so, how do people, I've had a couple of inquiries in terms of volunteering for that committee.
We had the BOCES, just last week we had the BOCES personnel give us the update. They had sent out the surveys to our community and reported back at that meeting what the surveys, what the consensus of the surveys were, and presented the candidates. So it'll be on March 3rd then. Thanks.
So, wait. So last time we did this, we had a community committee interview the final candidates. Are we going to do that?
No, we're not doing that. We have the survey.
So why aren't we going to do that?
And, yeah, let's just.
I'm asking about process. It's a process question.
Well, the process was laid out, and we're having interviews on March 3rd.
Okay, I don't feel this is transparent.
Yeah.
So the community has asked for transparency even when we announced this, that we were doing this several months ago. So I don't feel this is transparent, and I think the community, including faculty and other staff, should be involved in the review process.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, ma'am. Can I get a motion to close the meeting, please? So moved. Trustee Iacono, can I get a second? Second, Trustee